Yeah.
All righty. Get Randy a moment to get settled behind the control panel back there. It's like the Wizard of Oz back there, you know.
Yeah.
All right, thank y'all. All, not just y'all. I was looking over here, but
It's all y'all.
But not just y'all, and not just y'all, but as you said, Helen, it's all y'all. That's the plural of y'all.
Right.
Helen, you can't steal his jokes all night. You're going to have to let him.
Yeah. And that's my English lesson for the night, and that concludes the educational portion of the program. Unless Johnny has some wisdom to impart.
None.
All right, so thank y'all so much. It's good to be back here. Thank you, Randy, for doing what you do for music and for Waxahachie. I'm going to start out with a song off my new record. It came out in May, and this is track 2. It's called The Twist. I have 2 co-writers on this song. One is Damon Rogers, who's a wild, crazy cowboy friend of ours. That's all he does is cowboy, break horses. That's all he's ever done. That's all his daddy ever did. He's the real deal. And he came up with this idea called The Twist. He said, I don't know what it means. It's just 2 words, The Twist. We're going to have to write this song. And we got our friend Richard Dobson, the late Richard Dobson, to write this with us. And he just a few months before he passed away, he didn't tell anybody he was ill, but he just wanted to keep that to himself. This is the last song that we called him Ricardo Dobson wrote with anybody. He was a Texan who had gone to Nashville and done pretty well, had a Johnny Cash and June Carter recording, and Guy Clark recorded Richard Ricardo's songs. He was friends with everybody, and he ended up living in Switzerland because he met a beautiful Swiss woman decades ago, and just a heck of a great guy. So our record is dedicated to the memory of Ricardo Dobson. He was an author of books as well, just an amazing guy. So this is his last song that he wrote or co-wrote with anybody, along with myself and my buddy Damon Rogers. The Twist. When I was lost out in the mist, I made my hand into a fist. I added one more to my list. Therein lies the twist. That same old road threw me a curve. I guess we all get what we deserve. I knew the way until we kissed. Therein lies the twist. Therein lies the twist of the knife. What saves your soul could cost your life. That devil's deal is hard to resist. Therein lies the twist. As you sow, so shall you reap. What you grow is yours to keep. My aim was true, but somehow I missed. Blame it on the twist. Therein lies the twist of the knife. What saved your soul could cost your life. That devil's deal is hard to resist. Therein lies the twist. One more time, Joe. tonight, John. That's the twist. When I was lost out in the mist, I made my hand into a fist. I added one more to my list. Blame it on the twist. It's all in the twist. Therein lies the twist. All about the twist. Thank you so much.
That's great.
What do you think, John? So we're going to do a song swap tonight. Johnny and I have been working together about 25 years. We know each other's material pretty well, and we played the last two nights. Thursday night we were in Fort Worth at the place called The Post, and last night we were up in Oklahoma City, where Johnny is originally from, and we played at the Blue Door there. This is our third stop for our little mini tour this weekend, and glad to be able to share the evening with y'all. This is John Greenberg.
Thanks. We both have a lot of co-writers that we work with. We've written some songs together, and we've both shared some co-writers, and we've got one named Jeff Wild Horse Posey. And I don't know if Jeff's played here or not, but he should. He's great. He's kind of knee-deep in a business right now, so he's not playing a whole lot. But his songs are kind of living on vicariously through us, and this is one we wrote together about 20 years ago called Buffalo Nickels.
I'm stepping over an old screen door. Used to slam behind Benny and me. Now there's dust in the sun that peeks through the boards where the window used to be. Well, grown-ups would only smile at us as I chase your Uncle Benny around. Now the shadows and dust, silence and rust never made such a lonely sound. And I can see us running, laughing, and remember chasing him all the way. Yeah, with a buffalo nickel in my dirty hand, to the tracks a quarter-mile away. And now there's knee-high grass growing through the tracks. There's a buffalo nickel that never got flat. Son, I hope you never find your whole life spent waiting on trains never came and went. Oh no, never came and went. Son, help me down to the tracks today. There's a trail around here somewhere where the train never came around after that day. And I'll bet you that nickel's still there. And now there's knee-high grass going through the tracks. There's a buffalo nickel that never got flat. Son, I hope you never find your whole life spent waiting on trains never came and went. Oh, never came and went. car, I can make the walk through this stone garden watered with tears. We'll leave the buffalo nickel instead of a rock to let them know we were here. And now there's knee-high grass going through the tracks. There's a buffalo nickel that never got flat. Son, I hope you never find your whole life span waiting on trains never came and went. Oh no, never came and went. Oh, never came and went. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Well, I got some requests to get to.
Yes, I was about to say.
I think you should keep playing anyway.
My song was already requested. So.
And one of them, it's kind of like playing two songs, Johnny. It's called The Last Comanche Moon. And I'm capoed up to do it right here, so might as well, let's just do that. How many of y'all have heard The Last Comanche Moon? All right, that's cool. This is my first, I guess my second album. This was years ago, back in 1990. Well, it was back in the 1900s. That's all I remember. It's been a while back there. And I write these Western novels. You know, I have a journalism degree, and I morphed out of journalism into fiction writing, which a lot of journalists are doing these days. And it's kind of led the way. And so I started writing these historical novels. I'm a big history buff and read a lot about the Old West, so I can try to write a convincing book. And I read a book called The Trail Drivers of Texas. Anybody ever read that?
Yes, sir.
All right, I figured you might have been. It's about 900 pages long. I mean, my copy is. And what happened was, back around 19 teens or somewhere in there, somebody realized that all the old trail drivers from the trail drive era back in, 1870s and 1880s, they're all dying off or getting up in years. So they formed an association, Trail Drivers of Texas Association, and they would get together every year in San Antonio at the Minger Hotel right next to the Alamo. And they would have a little convention of sorts, and the old guys would sneak in a little whiskey, and, the newspaper reporters would come interview them about their experiences. And then somebody thought, what we ought to, before these guys are all gone, we should get them to write their reminiscences. So they invited all the old trail drivers to submit a story of some kind that really happened to them. Some of them told their whole life story, in maybe 100 or 200 pages, and some of them would write 2 paragraphs about some incident that happened on the trail somewhere. But they put it all together into this book called The Trail Drivers of Texas. And one theme that kept popping up was the idea of the Comanche moon, because these trail drivers were all raised when they were children back in around 1840s and 50s, back when the Comanches were still running roughshod over the country. And when the full moon came along, they didn't call it the full moon. They either called it the light moon or the Comanche moon, because they knew the Comanches were going to raid somewhere during the full moon. They just didn't know where. You never knew. So it struck fear into their hearts, and I got to thinking about that, and I decided to write this song called The Last Comanche Moon. That was my inspiration. The last Comanche moon was shining on me, bright as day, my true love walked the trail from hell's midnight. I rode the Milky Way, and I raced the wolf the night. The broken arrow fell, I staked my life, lost my fortune for to save the mission bell. Hey, oh. I was a cowboy once down on the Rio Grande. I rode the ranges for the Broken Arrow brand. I was on guard that fateful night in early June. I saw the rising of the last Comanche moon. I saw the warriors ride around the riverbed. I give a shout to rouse the boys the home ranch to defend. They kept us pinned down with 100 arrows flung. They come for all our horses, they left us with just one. I'd locked him with a trace chain to a live oak tree that day. My racing blue roan stallion I called the Milky Way. Hey-oh. His daddy was a Mustang and a famous running stud. His mama was a thoroughbred of pure Kentucky blood. He was worth a fortune of 1,000, maybe more. His winnings numbered hundreds and his winters numbered 4. They raised a cheer back at the Broken Arrow Ranch when I rode the Milky Way into the moonlight in Comanche. I shot my way out through 100 painted braves and struck the trail that led to town my true love for to save. My true love was a barmaid. She worked a gambler's hell. Her name was Julianne, but she was called the Mission Belle. Hey, Julianne lived in the ruins of the ancient mission church that sits outside of town, out where the Braves were sure to search. She always walked the trail alone from hell's midnight saloon, and I was bound to save her from the last Comanche moon. Halfway to town and I was crossing Devil's Branch, and I run on to another raiding party of Comanche. I recognized a warrior on a blood bay mare. I knew his name was Wolf. They said he lifted lots of hair, and we had horse race at the fort, and he admired my blue roan stud, and he'd come on through the moonlight like a lobo trailing blood. The last Comanche moon was shining on me, bright as day. My true love walked the trail from hell's midnight. I rode the Milky Way. I raced the wolf the night the Broken Arrow fell. I staked my life, lost my fortune for to save the Mission Belle. Hey-oh. I shot my pistol dry and dropped it on the road, with my saddlebag and cartridge belt to lighten up the load. But an arrow found old Milky Way, and his wound began to bleed, and the wolf was on his war horse, a fleet Comanche steed. There in the moonlight rose the ancient mission wall. The wolf was right behind me when I heard my true love call. I rode the racehorse of a lifetime to the ground. I swear he died a running and his likes have not been found. I landed on my shadow and I lay just where I fell. The screams of Julianne met with the wolf's Comanche yell. Hey, well, I've been called a liar, and I've been called a fool, and I've been told Comanches grant no mercy as a rule. But old wolf, he seen me helpless, and he seen his chance, I know. But he only rode right by me, and he struck me with his bow. He could have killed me, but he only counted cool. He turned and touched the Milky Way before the ghost had flew. He gave a war yell like a wolf burned with a brand, then wheeled and ducked the pistol shot fired by Julianne. She helped me rise up from the hard spot where I fell. The last Comanche moon, the Milky Way, the Mission Belle. Hey-oh. Well, it's been 60 years now since I made that fateful ride. It's been 20 winters since I heard the wolf had died. And it's been 7 moons now since I lost my Julianne. I'm going for to join her, boys. My time is near at hand. Don't mind my passing, boys. It's time the old man died. The wolf, he waits to guide me up the trail or the divide. The moon is rising like it did so long ago, and I see the warriors waiting on the ridge now, all aglow. Farewell, world of trouble, here comes Juliet. She rides the Milky Way to take me to the promised land. The last Comanche moon was shining on me. Bright as day, my true love walked the trail. From hell's midnight, I rode the Milky Way. I raced the wolf the night, the broken arrow fell. I staked my life and lost my fortune for to save the mission bell. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey. Thank you. All right. Yeah, pressure's off now.
Oh, no. I think they got more for you, Mike.
Yeah, but that's a tough one.
Well, that's a tough one to follow, but we'll see what we can do. This is a song that I wrote many, many years ago, but I never recorded it until since, Randy, I was here last time. And that was, I think, August of 2000. It was pretty sparse crowd. You know, COVID was going on and people were staying home and stuff. But we still did the show. But then I decided, well, I want to stay relevant. So I recorded my first solo record in 15 years. And it's out there. It's called Rails. And they're like, no one said, you never recorded this before? No, I haven't. But John Arthur Martinez recorded it. And it won Recording of the Year in Texas in 2010. So I'm grateful to him. And he's got a new record coming out, and Mike and I are singing all over it. So you can look forward to that, too. He's a really great songwriter. Randy, I think, posted this song last time. It's called Utopia, and I played it last night in Oklahoma City, and my parents were there in attendance. And I always have to preface it when my mom's in the room because this is not a flattering song to the person I wrote this song with. It's a true story. He did not have a really fond upbringing. Really had a tough go. His mom was of ill character. And so he told me the story, and I basically just, I wrote the song, and I gave him a co-write, of course. And I played it for him, and he just started crying. I said, well, I must have done something right. So anyway, so then John Arthur recorded it, and it won Song of the Year and all that stuff. So I finally recorded it after many, many years, and Mike does a great job backing me up on this. It's called Utopia. It goes like this. 1, 2, 1, 2. On cheap California wine, I was breastfed and reared by a mama who wouldn't want me once my daddy disappeared. She closed her bloodshot eyes, touched her finger to the map, to a small Texas town. There'll be no more grapes around. Each end of town was a welcome sign she wanted to believe. But that edge of town would cut you down if you ever tried to leave. And we lived on 187 and operate with each sunrise that we'd settle on a piece of heaven and we'd found our paradise. Was it heaven on earth or kingdom come? A little of both or neither one. It wasn't meant to be this way, but we stayed in Utopia. For 15 battered years we lived out of a pickup truck. When she told me to make my bed, I just put the
tailgate up. And how I ever lived to this ripe young age, I'm not really sure. And if I ever really learned right from wrong, it was damn sure not from her. Was it heaven on earth or kingdom come? A little love both or neither one. It wasn't meant to be this way, but we stayed in Utopia. Now it's 21 years later. Inside, I'm still a child. I'm still playing tag with my past. It'll catch me once in a while. And I have to fight that bottle every day of my life. Another long, drawn-out battle I win some of the time. And I hear my mama's still around, but to me she'll never be. I got a family of my own, now she tried turning them on me. I think I'll roll down 187 one more time and try to catch that piece of heaven she could never find. Was it heaven on earth or kingdom come? A little of both or neither one. It wasn't meant to be this way, but we stayed. Oh, we stayed in Utopia. Utopia. Thanks. True story.
Mike.
Okay, we'll do that later.
Secrets, though.
We will get around to that.
Okay.
So, yeah. Thanks for all the requests, y'all. I appreciate that. And there's one. It's got a connection to one of my books. It's called Slow Falling Rain. And the character in the song is named Amelia, and she was the lead female character in a book I wrote called Shortgrass Song. And the background story that I gave her, this is a bit around the 1870s and 1880s, and she had grown up on the East Coast in a rich family and had a nice house and a lot of luxuries, you know. But then she fell in love with this rancher, a young rancher who was breaking out a new ranch on the front range of the frontier of Colorado, around where Colorado Springs would be now. And so she had to move out to the frontier because she married this rancher. She was in love with him. His name was Pete. And she had to leave a lot of nice things back home, you know, from the East Coast and move out to the frontier. So this is her husband, Pete, singing to Amelia because he appreciates all the sacrifices she'd make. This is called Slow Falling Rain. Thunder rumbled in my dreams this morning. It was distant but plain. I tried to hold back the day and the dawning. I tried to dream of some rain. I heard the horses stampede to the stable. They always
is no. Waking up, I saw you and the breeze at the window, with your hair flowing. Keep on believing, Amelia, I understand your pain. You've given up your own dreams for me. You ain't got so much to gain. Just let me hold you whenever life starts to make you insane. Let me love you like a slow falling rain, like a rain. There's something soothing about the sound of the raindrops playing old window panes, and there's something real about the ring of a rooftop singing under the rain. I believe we can get through the summer. I believe in this dream. I believe you're a sight to behold, with the lightning in your eyes gleaming. Keep on believing, Amelia, I understand your pain. You've given up your own dreams for me. You ain't got so much to gain. Just let me hold you whenever life starts to make you insane. Let me love you like a slow falling rain. Understand your pain. You've given up your own dreams for me. You ain't got so much to gain. Just let me hold you whenever life starts to make insane. Let me love you like a slow falling rain, like a rain, oh, like the rain.
Thank you.
Hey, Mike,
Yes,
can I
sir.
borrow your clampy capo on this next song?
This one?
Yeah, I just want to make sure, because I
Show
go
me.
way high up on the neck, and that one
I
might
got
pop
you.
off
I
in the
hear you,
middle of
man.
the song.
All right, I'm here for you.
I know you are. All right, so I told Randy, how many of y'all are from or live in Waxahachie? Y'all know what Waxahachie means?
Which version?
Buffalo Creek, right?
Below at the creek.
Buffalo Creek.
In
Depending on
what,
who you ask.
in what language?
Uh,
I learned today was the Apache language.
Apache, right. So I told Randy I'd learn this song of my own. I have to learn my own songs. Well, I mean, look at Mike. I mean, he's got 1,000 songs, and we kind of play our favorites sometimes, or we get requests. But this song's pretty unique because I wrote it about your courthouse, and I had a really good friend that lived here, and he told me the story of it, and I did a lot of research on it. And then I don't know if y'all know who Mark Miller is. He was so Mark
Cobbler.
yeah, I cut a record back in 2006 called Old Blue Suit, and I put this on there. Unfortunately, I only have one copy of it here tonight, so it's going to go for $1,000. No, I can get y'all more, but
That's the starting bid. Is it?
I was really this story really moved me because I walked around the courthouse, which is one of the most beautiful in the state, Baroque style. We live in Fredericksburg, and ours is this ugly brown, and we have this beautiful town. It's just not pretty, but y'all's is. But then it kind of, it takes place, back in about 1898 when this takes place, and y'all know the kind of the story of what happened with the stonecutter and the innkeeper. Yeah, y'all know it, right? Okay, so well, let's see if I get it right, because I know there's some conflicting stories and things. I'm mainly going to try to remember the words. So this is called Carved in Stone. I hope you enjoy it. I am the Mason Hurley, hail from overseas, summoned by the town of Buffalo Creek. And I come to Ellis County, cotton is the king, to carve in stone a throne for the county seat. At the inn where they board me, while I earned my keep, my gaze was cast upon a girl so sweet. The first time she came toward me, my heart became besieged. Then my chisel found its purpose in my dream. Run along, young Mabel, go steal a peek. Won't you hold my hand and walk downtown with me? With our courtship on this courthouse, through my artistry, summoned by the town of Buffalo Creek. Then I forged into the building, her visage from my dream, but her beauty would become my reverie. Stronger than the stone was her heart that dwelled beneath, though I could not chisel through, it lay too deep. But the dream gave way to nightmare, and fancy turned to need, and by young Mabel came to loathe me. And each time she would refuse me, I would not concede. Soon the beauty that I dreamed turned ugly. Run along, young Mabel, go steal a peek. You will never care to know a man like me, but the faces will remain for all eternity, carved in stone for all the world to see. The strongest thing ever made was a pretty little girl named Mildred Frame. Wasn't meant to be, they say, and I will never be the same, but her countenance remains on a courthouse obsolete, and I am long since gone, dead and buried. Forged with corruption, a new courthouse down the street, and her walls are like my soul, so cold and empty. Run along, young Mabel, go steal a peek. You will never dare to know a man like me, but the faces will remain for all eternity, carved in stone for all the world to see. Yes, my legacy remains for all eternity, carved in stone for all the world to see. Thank you. I can't believe I got through that. Thanks. Thank you. if you look in the CD and you open up the lyrics page, on one side it's you hear the lyrics, and then in the backdrop you can see one of the pretty faces, and then you turn it over. No, you don't see that, but you see the monkey ugly face. I didn't put that one on there.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
All right. I got another request for another song. This is one of my earlier songs. In fact, I was telling somebody out in the living room that this is the earliest song that I wrote that I'm still playing. So maybe this was my first decent song I ever wrote. You know, when I was 20-something years old, and Leroy Parnell, the great country artist, Leroy once said that everybody's got 500 bad songs in them, and the quicker you get them out, the better. So maybe this was 501 for me. I'm not sure about that, but so it's. I was reading a lot of J. Frank Dobie when I was going to UT, and J. Frank Dobie was one of my favorite writers, the folklorist, you know, who grew up in South Texas in the 20s and 30s, and would get on his horse. He lived on a ranch out there, and he'd get on his horse and ride across the border for a couple of months and camp out and rope mustangs and bring his herds of mustangs back. And that was a pretty adventurous life for a young man. And he would record these old Mexican folk tales. We just write them down because he spoke fluent Spanish, having grown up in South Texas, and the people there would tell him these folk tales. And in some of these tales, people would shape-shift into animals, and animals would shape-shift into people. You know, there's kind of weird stuff going on there. So I was reading that kind of stuff when I wrote this song. I think some of it kind of wore off on me. I wrote this song called Mira las Palomas, which means look at the doves. And J. Frank Dobie, of course, went on to be a professor at University of Texas and at Oxford in England. He even taught over there. He was world-renowned as a folklorist. Wrote about the Southwest, the American West, and especially about Texas and Mexico. Great writer. Really knew how to tell a tale. And inspired this song, Mira las Palomas. Well, it was down in Mexico, where days are long and life is slow. In the streets of Nueva Laredo, I found a vaquero, weak and old. He asked if he could ride my horse down to the river, and I said of course. I led them out of town, I helped him down. He kneeled on the ground and prepared his soul. He made the cross and sat down in the shade. He asked me with his eyes to remain, so I tied the reins and I stayed. The morning doves flew to the cottonwood, and though his old voice was weak, I could still hear him speak, and I understood. Mira las palomas, son como los ángeles. Cuando yo muero, yo quiero volar por el cielo con ellas, con las palomas, como los ángeles. It was the last day of his life, and he'd outlived his children and his wife. And even all his old compañeros, and no curandero could stay his death. Then the old man bowed his head, he closed his eyes and he was dead.
but I remember every word he said with his dying breath. Mira, las palomas son como los ángeles. Cuando yo muero, yo quiero volar por el cielo con ellas, con las palomas, como los ángeles. The morning doves took to the sky of blue, and there was one more dove among them when they flew. Look at the morning doves, they are like the angels. When I finally die, I hope I can fly with them high through the open sky. Fly with the morning doves. Fly like the angels.
Muchas gracias para toda la gente.
Well, Mike's got a new record out called Gemstone. It's really, really good. Produced by Walt Wilkins. And mine's not quite as new as it's from earlier this year. I printed 100 copies, 100. And I sold them for $100 a piece. And believe it or not, people bought them. I only have about 20 left. But I did that because, and Mike wrote the forward in there. I made it a collector's item. Some people didn't even open the packaging. You could download it on Spotify for free. But they wanted the physical copy, and each one's numbered and stamped and everything. So I have some out there. I know that's a big ticket price, but I only have a few left. And who knows? Maybe you can, in a couple of years, they'll be worth $10 when you resell them.
When you die.
Well, wishful thinking, I know.
No.
But I'm going to do some songs off that record. Utopia was on that record. But I got some upbeat stuff on there and some slow stuff on there and some introspective stuff on there. This is a song I just kind of enjoy playing because it lends itself to the night. This is called Embrace the Night. I thought of this song because I was looking at the sky about dusk, and I'm like, the stars are there all day. You just can't see them. And then there's that point right before dusk when the first stars start to appear, and you're like, all right, it's on. It's time to party hard. So that's what we're going to do tonight.
That's right.
We get through all these sad songs and some happy stuff.
We're going to rock and roll here in a little bit.
When the sunlight slowly burns and the stars and moon await their turn, it soon becomes a twilight glow. A brilliant fire sets a brindle sky, a star appears, the dawn of night, mixed with city lights that long to know. Did you seize it? Did you make the most of it? And even if you did, you're only half right. With dawn so far away and a full moon in the sky, did you seize the day and embrace the night? Well, this bar's my second home, and tonight I don't want to be alone. So I grab another round before last call. And she's waiting there for anyone to hear the woes of a day gone wrong. And I walk up and offer up some small talk, and I seize it, try to make the most of it. And if I listen well, I might get the green light, with dawn still far away and a full moon in the sky. Did you seize the day and embrace the night? Darkest part of the night lies behind these weary eyes, when the day both begins and ends at sunrise. There's a candle that slowly burns while the silent sun awaits her turn, as we lie awake in an empty bed. The early morning first light glow crawls in through a bare window, and my thoughts turn and ask me again. They ask me again, if she's it, did you make the most of it? And even if you did, you're only half right. We're gone so close at hand, and the full moon waves goodbye. Did you seize the day and embrace the night? Yeah, we're dawn so close at hand, as the full moon waves goodbye. Did you seize the day and embrace the night? Thanks. Thank you.
I love you.
C.
I'm going to do your request now.
Yay!
Helen,
Yes.
does anybody have a wine glass?
Yes.
A glass? Just a glass.
There's a wine bar right straight.
I just need. I just need a
He
glass.
doesn't want any wine in it.
I'll just spill the wine.
It's happened before.
So, Helen's request was for me to play this song about my favorite tough guy from the movies. So when I get a nice audience like this and we all hear each other, then I'd like to ask you, who is your favorite tough guy from the movies? Just go ahead and tell me. Anybody? Clint Eastwood, Bogart, John Wayne. Who else we got? Charles Bronson. Who said Chuck Norris? Lee Marvin. Who said Pee Wee Herman? I heard that. Did you hear that, John?
Someone said it last night and just stole your thunder.
Yeah. No, my favorite tough. Those are all tough guys. I agree with you all about that. But my favorite tough guy was that little dog from The Wizard of Oz, Toto. And let me explain what I mean. Because Toto was like 11 pounds of furry fury when he was pissed off. You know, he chased the lion right up a tree. He treated a lion. He would jump on a flying monkey and just go for a ride whenever he wanted to. And he was not afraid of that wicked witch and her evil spells. So he's a pretty tough guy, you know. And I decided I better write a song about Toto.
But he's a terrier.
He's a terrier? Okay.
Terriers are tough.
Do you have a terrier at home by any chance?
She is a terrier.
You're not fond of them. Did a terrier pick on you at one time?
A Yorkie
You don't
of
like
sorts.
Toto then, huh? I'm sorry, Helen, I can't do this song. She didn't like it. No.
We don't want to
Get
offend
over
you.
it.
So I wanted to do right by Toto, and so I did a lot of research on Toto. I'm a historical researcher, you know. That's what I do for my historical novels. So I found a copy of Toto's Auto Dog biography that he wrote back in 1932, and It was translated through a Siamese cat who spoke a lot of languages. And I read Toto's autobiography, and so I'm able to write this song in his own words. This is what Toto said in his book. My name is Toto, I'm a Kansas puppy. I got lost in Oz on my way to Kentucky. That's where he's going. I hate flying monkeys, I didn't like the farm. The only place to me that ever held any charm was this little town that's got it all, called Wichita. So put your ruby slippers on and click your heels, we're going to Wichita. Come on, girl. Put your ruby slippers on and click your heels, we're going to Wichita. Soon we cross that Kansas line, we're gonna leave the yellow brick blues behind. Gone to Wichita, Wichita, John, I think you've been through Wichita a time or two. Give it up for Johnny Gringo. Yeah, that's right. Now you may wonder why Toto wanted to go to Wichita. Everybody knows he wanted to get back to Kansas. But why Wichita in particular? Well, in chapter 13 of his autobiography, he explained that it was a process of elimination. He eliminated all the other towns that he didn't like, and this is what he said. Kansas City just moves too fast. Old Dodge City's living in the past. But there is one place I'd sure like to go. I seen it from the twister way down below. The sweetest sight I ever saw, hey, it was Wichita. So put your ruby slippers on and click your heels, we're going to Wichita. Come on, girl. Put them ruby slippers on and click your heels, we're going to Wichita. You soon cross that Kansas line, we're going to leave the yellow brick blues behind. Gone to Wichita, Wichita. Take one more trip through mountain town to Wichita. Also wonder how Toto felt about his co-stars in the movie Wizard of Oz. I mean, it seemed like they all got along so well. Well, that was all acting, because there was a little bit of ego and, jealousy and things going on in the background. Chapter 23, here's what Toto said. 10 Man was a bucket of rust. Scarecrow blew away in a gust. King of the forest was a big bad lion. The last time I saw him back in Oz, he was crying. He had a little sticker in his paw. Let's go to Wichita, Dorothy. Hey, put your ruby slippers on and click your heels, we're going to Wichita. Put your ruby slippers on and click your heels, we're going to Wichita. Soon we cross that Kansas line, we're going to leave the yellow brick blues behind. Gone to Wichita. Now listen, y'all, the thing about Wichita is you all get to sing along. Well, not really sing along, you get to bark along. It's the most fun we have in the song. So when you hear the music stop here in just a little bit, then you start barking. You can bark like your own dog at home. You can bark like that neighbor dog that will not shut up. You can bark like Rin Tin Tin or Lassie or Cujo or all the famous dogs. With one thing, everybody's got to bark together. Make sure that the coyotes out on the edge of town listen to us and go, what's going on at Waxahachie tonight? So put your ruby slippers on, click your heels, we're going to Wichita. Put your ruby slippers, you can do better than that. Click your heels, we're going to Wichita. Across that Kansas line, we're going to leave the yellow brick blues behind. Oh, there's a howler in every crowd, boy. Yeah. All right, y'all bark, howl. Here we go. Put your ruby slippers on and click your heels, we're going to Wichita. Yeah. Put your ruby slippers on and click your heels, we're going to Wichita. As soon as we cross that Kansas line, we're going to leave the yellow brick blues behind. Going to Wichita. Oh, to Wichita. Gone to Wichita. Very good, y'all. All right, on that note, we're going to take a short break here and kind of catch our breath. But do you have a question first?
Yes, I'd like for you to play that song, Wichita, please. That was cute.
Well, next time I come back, we'll do it again. But we'll take a short break. It'll be like a 27-minute break.